Hi, and welcome to another episode of A Walk to Remember. My name is Dwayne Baker-Henderson, and as always, I'll be your host as we explore some of the truths and the myths surrounding postpartum depression, as well as hopefully give you some tips that can make your journey or someone else's journey through postpartum depression just a little bit easier. Now, this week, I want to change things up a little bit. I want to talk about parenting and doing that through a period of postpartum depression. This is something that Corey and I were not prepared to do. We didn't know postpartum depression was going to be part of our family's life for the time that it was. And having to parent through that period of time wasn't something we could hand off to somebody else. We still needed to parent our kids. Our son Graham was about 5 years old when we first started experiencing postpartum depression in our family. And, of course, my daughter was just a couple of months old. And parenting them through that time isn't something that we can hand off. We had to take that on ourselves. And through that period, I was kind of concerned that it might affect my kids. It might have a negative effect on their view of their mom, or what family was like, or what it was to be a healthy, well grown-up. But what I found was that because of some changes Corey and I had made prior to going into that period of postpartum depression, our kids came out of it really, really well. And I don't really think it affected them that much. And what we had changed was prior to Kalina being born, that's my daughter, about 2 years into Graham's life, we changed from being a child-focused couple and family to being focused more around Corey and I as the parents. I can't remember who suggested this to us. It was at a talk that we had heard together through a business we are part of, that the best thing that you can do for your kids is to be a loving couple, to really look after each other as partners. Excuse me. And so Corey and myself really took a look at our parenting, what we were doing. And we realized that we were, in fact, a child-focused marriage, that Graham was the center of everything. He was what we scheduled everything around in our lives. What we basically, he was the core of everything. And that's good. But what happens with that is you lose each other as a couple. You lose each other as grown-ups and as partners. You get lost in what your child needs as opposed to how to be a really healthy marriage. And so Corey and I really took a look at our marriage, and we changed things around quite a bit. We started scheduling our lives around each other instead around our kids. So our kids had to fit into our schedule, not the other way around. And that seems like a strange thing, with so many people going to hockey games all the time with their kids, taking them to practices and soccer and all these different extracurricular activities. There's so much of that right now. It's so prevalent that that might seem like kind of a strange idea, fitting your kids into your schedule. And so our kids don't have all of those things. Graham takes piano. Kalina is learning to play the violin. They swim. Kalina takes gymnastics lessons. But all of that is fit into our schedule. And I think what that's changed is that we've really showed our kids that Corey and I love each other. We're really, really solid. And I think that stability means more to your child than all of the hockey games and all of the soccer games and all of the other things that you could be doing. And it allows us to spend more time with them, one-on-one and together as a family. Because it isn't all about their activities. It's about what can we do together? What can we do as families, and how can we show each other more what we mean to each other? And I think that was a really big change that really helped as we started to go through postpartum depression. And I think that what the big thing was that, and why it didn't affect our kids that severely was that they could see us as a couple really trying to maintain our love for each other and that stability in our home, even when it was really chaotic, even when it was really difficult for Corey to be around people and she needed to take time for herself. And I was concentrating on making sure our house was, our bills were paid and we were fed and all that kind of stuff. I think that our kids seeing that we were trying to create that core stability and the stuff that really matters, really helped them to feel safe and to feel secure that we were going to be okay, even though not everything seemed okay at the time. And so I think that's a really good thing to look at is how is your marriage set up? How are you parenting? Are you focused on your kids' activities, or are you focused on being the best partner you can be with your spouse or your significant other, so that there is that stability in your home, and showing that support to each other and showing your kids what it is to be a good partner to someone else and how to select a partner and that kind of stuff. I think that all fed into our kids coming through this experience strong and feeling safe and feeling secure that we were all going to be okay. And so I'll encourage you to do that too. Look at how you are parenting. Are you parenting where everything is focused on your kids? Or are you parenting from the standpoint of being a really good partner with your spouse or your significant other? An example of that is always showing a united front to our kids. Even when, for instance, I make a decision with our kids and Corey may not completely agree with it, she'll back me up in front of them and then we'll discuss it. And if we need to change it, we'll change it. But we don't have that discussion in front of our kids. So showing a united front, and that's happened lots of times. It happens all the time in our family. If Corey has said something to our kids where they've been behaving in a way that is inappropriate, and she has done something to end that behavior and to try and fix it in the future, and I don't agree with it, I will back her up on supporting the change in behavior, and then she and I will discuss privately what might be a better way of doing it, or what my opinion is about how to resolve that. And that's really important with your kids. I think, like I said before, stability is the most important thing. And stability in the things that really matter. And what really matters most to your kids is knowing that their parents are going to be there, that they're going to be protected, and that they're going to be able to trust that aspect of their lives will always be constant. And that's something that's really hard to reinforce. But if you can show that you are united and that you're trying your best to be the best partners for each other, I think that's the best thing you can possibly do for your kids. And I think it does make a big difference when you're going through something traumatic like postpartum depression. Just having that security at home, even through the chaos, like I said, whether it be somebody who is having mood swings because of the things going on in their body, because of the postpartum depression, or needing to be isolated or segregated, or just not being able to put energy into different aspects of your life because of that illness that's just eating away at you. I think that if you can show your kids that you're still doing your very best, they'll come through okay. Kids are really, really resilient. And I did have worries about that when we first started going into the postpartum depression. But our kids have come out of it strong, amazing kids. We have the greatest kids I could possibly want. And I think a lot of that has to do with how Corey and I express our relationship with each other. And that's at the core of everything. If you think about it as concentric circles, Corey and I are in the middle. We're the core, the center of what's going on in our home. And then our kids kind of orbit around that. And then everything else is outside of that. And I think if our kids know where they stand in relation to everything else, and that they do have a solid core, they can come through anything. So that's what I'll encourage you to do. Look at how you're partnering, where you're partnering or parenting from. What is your mentality in doing so? Are you focusing everything on your kids, or are you focusing on that relationship that created those kids? And you might find that things happen really, really well for your kids, even when you're going through some terrible stuff. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. I'd love to hear what your questions, your comments are. Please put them in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel if you want to hear what's coming up next, and give the video a like if you did like what I had to say, and share it with anyone who you might think would find value in it. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. It's great knowing that what I have to say has reached out to a few people, and I encourage you to check out my next videos as well, and comment on those too. I do put out 2 a week, one on Tuesday, one on Friday. The ones on Tuesday are like this. They're for a walk to remember, where I talk about postpartum depression. Friday is my weekly vlog, where I just talk about what's on the top of my head. And with that, I will see you in the next episodes. Have a great day and be well. Bye-bye.